Yo, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Matt, and today's video is going to be a follow-up to my original Onewheel XR versus Pint discussion. Now that I've had about 100 miles under my belt with the Pint, do I still think it's a good buy? Do I think I made the right decision? Let's go find out. Hey guys, what's up? I apologize for all the extra noise. I'm out here at the park. I thought it'd be a good change of scenery. Also, I'm a little sweaty because it's freaking hot out here. But hey, bear with me. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the added tech that's in the Pint. And yes, I still agree that the added tech in the Pint is a huge plus over the XR. For one, you get this LED bar, and it's proven to be super useful. For one, if you're dumb like me and you tried to start up your Onewheel while you're holding it or it's not on a level surface, you'll get this. See, it's flashing yellow at me saying, okay, you're not doing something right, put it on the flat ground and restart it. Another thing is the battery indication on the LED bar. That's huge because I hate in the middle of a ride having to take my phone out, connect to the app, and then check the battery life. This way, I can just look down at a glance and see how much battery I have left. That's super awesome. Also, when I was learning to do the heel lift dismount method, it was great to be able to look down and see, okay, am I actually disengaging that sensor? Also, for lighter riders like my son, he's really light, has really small feet, so it's hard for him to engage both sensors. So for him, he loves looking down, seeing that he's got both feet on the sensor pad. So the LED bar is great, and I predict that all future Onewheel products will have some sort of advanced feedback feature, whether it's an LED bar or maybe they even put some OLED display, something on the board, right? So good job. I think it's a huge plus over the XR still. Okay, now let's talk about Simple Stop. When I was first getting started on the Onewheel, I thought Simple Stop was an amazing feature because, like many other riders, I think dismounting was probably the hardest thing for me to look proficient on. So Simple Stop gave me the confidence to be able to wander around the city, stop at stoplights or stop signs, and dismount the board without looking like a total idiot, right? So that was huge because if I was worried about looking stupid or maybe even falling or doing something dangerous at stoplights and stop signs, I may not have gone out to venture as much as I did. So I think Simple Stop is amazing for new riders. Now that being said, as I started progressing and I started learning more advanced dismount features like the heel lift dismount and even the skidding dismount, I ended up disabling Simple Stop because in addition to learning those more difficult dismount techniques, I was also learning reverts and things like that where I would need to ride fakie. So, but I still think that having the ability to have Simple Stop is a huge thing for beginners. And even if you have Simple Stop enabled, you can still do the heel lift method or you can still do the skidding stop method. You really won't notice it. It'll just help you if you're a rider that never plans to do tricks or ride fakie. So if you're only gonna cruise, ride in the same direction all the time, you could just leave Simple Stop on all the time and just have another tool in your toolbox for stopping and dismounting your Onewheel. So pushback. I still agree that having a stronger pushback on your board is a plus. I'm very safety conscious, right? I have two small kids, a wife, I have a family that I need to take care of, so I can't afford to get hurt. So having a stronger pushback and letting me know that this board is gonna fail is a huge plus for me. Actually, I would be happy to see Future Motion and future Onewheel iterations put even more safety warning features on their boards. It'd be great if it had an audible alert system where you get pushback and an alert sound so that you know that something bad is going to happen. And you know, maybe you can enable or disable that tone in the app if people don't like that. Maybe even the app could ring or buzz. So I think even additional safety features would be great. But the stronger pushback on the Pint, I still say that's a big plus over the XR. All right, let's talk Carvy-ness. Oh my God. The Carvy-ness on this board is amazing. So I've had time now on both the XR and the Pint, and man, the Pint is just so much more fun to cruise around and carve around. I guess a good analogy that I can think of is like the XR is like a Cadillac. It's super stable and you feel totally locked in. The Pint is more like a Miata. It's super nimble, carvy. I think you do have to be more dialed in with your carving on the Pint. The XR may let you be a little more lazy and not have to think about things as much, but the Pint, you know, once you're dialed in and you know how this board is going to feel and work, it's just amazing. Also, I think if you learn on the Pint, hopping on an XR is like no problem whatsoever. You know, I've had a couple buddies who have XRs and they're just kind of learning. They hopped on my Pint and they look like total noobs. They just could not be steady on it. Whereas I hopped off the Pint, jumped right on their XRs and was going like I've been riding that thing for years. So Carvy-ness on the Pint, big plus over the XR, I think. I mean, and granted, this is all talking stock tires. Of course, people can go out there and change their stock tires to something more rounded, but I'm one of those people that likes to keep my warranty intact, and I'm not about to go do that. So we're talking OEM tire versus OEM tires. And yeah, that's it. I love the Pint's Carvy-ness. Good job. Okay, now in my last video, I did mention that my weight was a concern for me. I'm 190 pounds and I thought, oh, maybe the Pint motor won't be able to keep up, but I'm happy to report that there have been no issues. You know, if I'm doing reverts, there's a lot of stress on the motor because you're going from one direction to the other direction, and that's probably one of the most stressful situations you could put on the motor because you're just dumping so much current there. Also, I've gone on beach rides, I've ridden on grass, on gravel. The Pint just handled those like a champ. So weight, not an issue. If you're around my weight, don't be concerned, you'll be fine. All right, let's talk about the size of the Pint. Initially, I was a little concerned that the size would be a little small for me, but actually, I love the size of the Pint. It's actually, you know, the width of the Pint is close to the width of the skateboard decks that I used to ride when I used to skate. I used to ride 8.5-inch decks and the Pint is 8.75. And I just feel like I'm at home on the board. Actually, I find that being able to hang my rear toes off the board and my front heel off the board just gives me ultimate control when I'm carving. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the XR, it still feels comfortable and I could still carve just fine. But the Pint, it feels more natural to me. I mean, maybe it's because I'm so used to it at this point, but I think that I have no concerns that people with a size 12 shoe like me or even bigger I don't think they'll have any problems on the Pint. I think it'll be just fine. Humans, we adapt really easily to things. So size, I love the Pint size. It's super nimble, small. It feels like a skateboard to me, so that's a good thing. Okay, let's talk about future-proofing. In my last video, I did talk about how I hate buying new gadgets and a month later or whatever, a new version of that gadget gets released and then all of a sudden my nice shiny new object is obsolete. I hate that. And I know Future Motion hasn't announced any plans for a new updated XR, but you have to imagine that it's coming, right? I've seen a lot of videos lately about how how Future Motion is kind of stagnant in their progression and all this stuff, so I'm sure they're working on an updated version of the XR. I still predict that in the next 6 months to a year, we're gonna hear about a new version of the XR, maybe with a lot of the new features of the Pint included, maybe extended range. We'll see. I mean, looking at their batteries, I believe a lot of them are using the Samsung 30Q batteries, which are 3,000 milliamp hours. So there's some room for improvement there. They could spend a little more money. They could probably go up to like a 3,400 or 3,500 milliamp hour battery and get that much more range. So I still agree that if you really want to future-proof and you don't want to be burned by buying a new XR and then having it be obsoleted by a brand new product soon, I think you're safer going with the Pint if you want to future-proof. So I still agree, Pint is the way to go if you want to future-proof. All right, let's talk a little bit about peer pressure. Man, the XR versus Pint discussions online on the Facebook groups, on the forums is pretty lively, let's say that. There are some people out there with very strong opinions on whether you should get an XR versus a Pint, and I guess it's a little understandable. With any big purchase, people do a lot of homework, right? Trying to decide what they want to get, whether it's a car or a computer or a camera, right? So if you buy something and that doesn't agree with that person and all the research that they did, I think it's pretty natural for people to be like, no, you're wrong. I did all this research and this is what I landed on. But I don't think that that's true. I think that there's a right tool for everybody, right? We're not all in the same situation. For me, I have a family, I have 2 young kids, so I don't have a lot of time to venture around and go on 50-mile rides and all that stuff. You know, the Pint suited me at this time in my life, and I think it will for a lot of other people. So don't give in to peer pressure. Buy the tool that suits you. Do your own homework and do what you think is right for you. And for me, honestly, I'm just stoked anytime I see anybody on a one-wheel, period. I don't care if it's a Pint or an XR or what. I'm just like, yo, dude, we're both one-wheelers. We're all part of one big happy family. Remember that. We're all part of one big happy one-wheeling family. So stop all the hate online. Just encourage people to get what they want. If they want a Pint, whether it's because it fits their lifestyle or if that's all they can afford, then dude, a Pint is better than no one wheel at all. So for all you guys out there worried about peer pressure, don't worry about it. Get what you want. Nobody's giving me shit about my Pint, so do it. All right, I better stretch for this one because I think this is the topic that everybody really cares about in the XR versus Pint discussion, and that's range. Hold on, it's a little windy. Let the wind die. I'm probably not gonna die, so sorry guys, you're gonna have to bear with me in this wind. But so range. For the most part, the Pint's range has been working great in my lifestyle. I've been averaging about 10 miles on concrete and asphalt with my tire pumped up to 20 psi, and as I said earlier, I weigh 190 pounds. So that'll give you an idea of what you can expect. Now, I will admit there have been a few times where I did wish that I had more range. One being when I went to the beach and I went for a beach ride. I didn't expect the range to be cut down as much as it did being on that soft terrain. So when I went to the beach, I'm guessing I probably got about 4 to 5 miles. So you know, you can expect that if you're on a soft terrain with a really high rolling resistance, whether it's sand or some loose gravel or something like that, or grass, you can expect that your range is going to severely get cut. So think about that. If you're on a Pint and you're getting 10 miles on concrete, you go on the beach, you're going to get 4 to 5 miles. So if you're going to be doing that frequently, you may want to get the XR. But in my normal everyday life, on concrete, on asphalt, it's been great. There was one other time when I actually did have a lot of time in the day to ride, and my ride was cut short because I ran out of battery. I could have stayed out for longer if I did have more battery. So, but you know, out of the last 3 weeks of riding, you know, and 100 miles, that's happened once for me. So I think I predicted in my last video that I'd be good for 90-95% of the time, and I think that that is holding true. I think I did a good job, you know, with my due diligence, trying to figure out how much I would actually ride, and I think it's been pretty accurate. So like I said before in my last video, do your homework, go on Google Maps, map out everywhere where you think you may be riding frequently, and I bet it'll hold up for 90-95% of the time. So I still think that for the price, the Pint is an awesome buy, and I think that for half the price, I'm willing to take that trade-off of that 10% or 5% of my life where I could have used the extra battery. So there it is. I know that's what probably most of you guys are worried about and wanted to hear about is the range, and I still think that the range is good. I think 10 miles at 190 pounds, I think that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So good job, Future Motion. I'm really happy with this product. So I think you guys will be too. All right guys, that's enough talking for today. Let's go for a little ride. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching my videos. I truly appreciate it. If you liked it, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Also, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section, so please leave a comment down below to say hi. My name is Matt, and I will see you next time.